There's a lot to say about 2020. I already made a video talking about it. So back in 2020, I'm working during the pandemic. I'm working for a large corporation, a large chain grocery store. And so a good amount of people left because they didn't want to work during the pandemic. They're scared. Whatever, that's fine. Yeah. So every department is down, shorthanded with people. And obviously people are filing in to get their toilet paper, their milk, bread, whatever, all that stuff. And so, each department working on skeleton crews. And so we all pitch in. We work in our own departments, work in other departments, try to help out. We're doing the whole 6 feet social distancing thing. We're wearing the masks. And so you would think, and all the while, the government and the media is, they're trying to, make us feel good. The essential workers, they're the heroes. Okay, cool. So within the first month and a half, my company told us and paid us each $2 an hour more on top of what we were, on top of all of our wages, regardless of who you were. Great, awesome, cool. Thank you very much. That only lasted about a month and a half. And then they scaled it back and we got a regular pay. Okay, hey, is there any other incentive for us to be at work during a pandemic, because this thing ain't over, right? Okay, they gave us a $500 bonus 1 month. Oh, okay, cool, awesome, thank you very much. Pandemic is still going on. You got anything else for us? Some incentive to stay and work in this environment? Nope. Okay. And then later on in 2020, I, read the news, and the company I'm working for is in record profits. All right, congratulations. Hey, I'm one of the people who decided to stay. I didn't decide to stay home and get paid for it by the government on top of unemployment benefits. You gonna do anything for me? No, not a word about it. Okay, all right. I'm getting a little, kind of upset about it. Rightfully so, and naturally. So, year goes on, and, I'm working for a company that's making record profits during a pandemic. All right, and then less than a year later, from the start of the pandemic, it's probably towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, and the company announces that it's going to take health benefits away from part-timers. Now, I wasn't a part-timer. I was a full-time stock clerk. But what a slap in the face. Like, okay, you made record profits. You expanded your online ordering, online shopping sector of the company to make more money. And that was booming at the time, and I was trained on that, and I did that for the company as well. And you take health benefits away from part-timers. This is a company that used to be on the Forbes top 100 best places to work in. It isn't anymore. You can probably guess which company I worked for, but you know. And so, I'm going through all this, and you got, okay, so, all right. So the company doesn't seem to be doing anything extra for us essential worker heroes, whatever you want to call us. And then Congress, within the first few months of the pandemic, they're saying, we're going to pass the Love Act. We're going to pass the Love Act because we love you essential workers. You guys are so great. We're going to do something for you. That was maybe the first 3 months of the pandemic, and then nothing. They just stopped talking about it. Not that I really expected our government to really do anything for us, but knowing the fact that they were paying freaking kids who just started at my company like for 2 weeks, and then they decided to stay home. They got unemployment benefits with $600 from the government on top of that. But they couldn't throw me or anyone else, any other hero essential worker, a bone. They couldn't do that. No, they paid people to stay home, but the people who decided to work during a pandemic, they shafted us. Was that your act of love? The Love Act? Was that your big act of love? To just spit in the face of the American blue-collar worker? I'll tell you what, man, in my heart, I'm a capitalist. I'm all about free market capitalism, but 2020 really changed my view on it. I'm still a capitalist. I definitely, I wouldn't want to live under any other economic system. However, this really highlighted for me some of the flaws of capitalism. Okay? This was just, and you had record profits for any company that was essential, that stayed open. Record profits, and you couldn't reward your workers. Maybe there were some companies that did, but for the one I worked for, I couldn't see any clear excuse for them not to throw us a bone, right? I think we got like one pizza party or something. And a pat on the back. Oh, I did get a free shirt that said, "Oh, I'm a hero" on it. Something stupid. I still have this shirt. It's just a little memento of a time where it reminded me that the American worker got frickin' spit on by American companies and by the government. But they could pay people $600 on top of unemployment benefits to stay home. It still blows my mind to this day to know that. It blows my mind to this day to know that. Man, I'll tell you what, 2020, and everybody I know who was an essential worker during this time, everyone I talked to got little to nothing as far as incentive, pay, bonuses, whatever, during this time. So I was talking, someone I know who's a paramedic. Nothing changed for him, Another person I know, firefighter. Nothing changed for him. And I was talking to my friend who's the firefighter recently, and we were just talking about this, how nothing, it's like ever since then, things never really changed for the better. 2020, for essential blue-collar workers, we got shafted. You got shafted if you worked during that time. Oh, but people could, people with office jobs, they could work remotely. They could, do their essential work of whatever they had to do through email, whatever program, and then they could go for a road trip. They could go for a hike. They could go enjoy their life. People like me who decided to do the right thing, thought I was doing the right thing, shafted. There's no other way to explain that. And I'm not like one of these, I don't like entitlement, okay? But when you pay people to stay home and you give the essential workers nothing, no further incentive, you've spit in our faces and you disrespected us. And when I see the work culture now, where young people are quiet quitting or they're just not putting their heart into the work. I kind of don't blame them, honestly. I kind of don't blame them. Knowing what I went through, knowing what other hard workers that I know went through during the pandemic and getting nothing for it, no further incentive, but you pay people to stay home. Screw you, man. Screw you. It's hard to. There's really nothing else to say. You know, that's the plain truth of it. Essential workers in 2020, 2021, 2022 got shafted by companies that they work for, by the government. They really showed you what they felt about you. And that's why I ended up quitting a year later. I quit. I cashed out some of my investments that had done really well, thank God. And I decided to take some time off because I was just at that point, I was just so pissed off. I just said, you know what? You try to do the right thing and you get spit in the face for it. You know? So, I'm making this video just to let off steam and just sort of a record, just to remind people what happened. The 2020 essential worker, the blue-collar worker, got shafted, spit in the face, and disrespected by companies, big companies, by their local governments, and by the federal government, which promised the Love Act and gave us nothing. And, of course, we're not going to get anything. Nothing in retrospect. There will be no retro pay. There will be no... It's all done, forgotten, but I'll never forget. And for you who worked during that time, I hope you never forget. And I hope you always remind people how you got shafted. Okay? Maybe the companies today that are, complaining about young workers not being hardworking, you know what? The way you treated us, maybe you deserve it. Maybe this is what you had coming. Maybe you deserve this. Maybe you need, this is not my normal attitude, but maybe you need a bunch of young people to slow things up for you. Because you screwed us over. You screwed me over, that's for sure. I'm not one of these people that sticks my hand out, but in this case, I'm going to say you screwed me over. You screwed many people over. Very good people, very hard workers. So screw you. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. God bless.